husband accompanied his childhood sweetheart to the hospital when she went for a prenatal checkup. I had the baby aborted, left a divorce agreement behind and then left. Before I left a message under their sweet photo in the WeChat moments, saying I'm leaving to make room for you too. A minute later, he called and said, "Chu Xing, have you made enough of a fuss?" I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. I didn't love you anymore and wouldn't care who you were with. However, he became anxious. On this day, I came to the hospital for an examination, as my period was a week late, but then I was told that I was 1 month pregnant. The baby's coming was so unexpected. I walked out of the doctor's office and stood in the corridor, stroking my lower abdomen in a daze, hesitating whether to keep it or not. I didn't have a good constitution, and if I had an abortion, I might never be able to get pregnant again. Suddenly, there was some commotion among the crowd. Wow, that's Liu Ying and her boyfriend. They're such a perfect match. He accompanies her for every prenatal checkup. They're so affectionate, with both the father and the mother being so good looking. How good looking their baby will be. I subconsciously looked into the crowd and spotted Ji Yu Chen and Liu Man at a glance. They had been hyping up their relationship as a couple for nearly 7 years, and everyone thought they were a couple. Previously, on Valentine's Day, the three of us went out for dinner together and were photographed by paparazzi. Then a bunch of netizens cursed me, calling me a scheming, green tea bitch who had no shame. Little did they know that I was actually Ji Yu Chen's wife. I didn't want to stay there to avoid embarrassment, but Liu Man stopped me and said, "Chu Xing, why are you here? Don't tell me you deliberately followed Ah Chen and me." Poor him. I'm dressed so tightly. I managed to avoid the paparazzi but couldn't avoid him. Before I could answer, Gu Chen frowned slightly and convicted me, saying, "Just this once. Don't let it happen again." Hearing the word follow, the people around stared at me with strange looks in their eyes. It seemed that I was some malicious third party who had meddled in their relationship. This was the first time I had faced such a situation, and every time it felt like there was a lump in my throat. But Ji Yu Chen didn't have the slightest intention of helping me out of the awkward situation at all. He took Liu Man to the examination room. Right, how could he be willing to tell the truth that I was his wife? He wouldn't let his first love be accused. How ridiculous. What was even more laughable was that just now I had actually been seriously considering whether to keep the baby or not. Whether to keep this baby or not. With a person as cold-hearted and ungrateful as him, what good genes could he possibly have? If the baby is born, I hope it won't be like its father, making me angry every day. I registered on the spot to have an abortion. On my way back, I called my lawyer and said, "Hello, please send over the divorce agreement as soon as possible." However, the evidence of Mr. Gu's betrayal during our marriage is still not sufficient enough. If we can get the result of Liu Man's amniocentesis and prove that the child has a biological relationship with Mr. Jiu, you can get more of the property. I also feel it's a pity, but never mind. Half is half. This marriage, where I've been putting up with everything like a ninja turtle all along, is torture for me every single day it continues. By comparison, I'd rather get less money. I wasn't feeling well and was in a hurry to go back home to have a rest. Unexpectedly, not long after I got home, Ji Yu Chen came back. He always had that cold and indifferent look, and was calm about everything he did, as if nothing could stir up his emotions. But this time, he ran back home, and his eyes were bloodshot. Gu Chen grasped my hand tightly. "I've seen the hot search," he said. His strength was so great that it hurt my hand. I pulled my hand out and said, "So what if you've seen it? I haven't looked at the hot search." I guess it was bought by Liu Man's team again, praising how much Gu Chen dotes on her, and then scolding me for having no self-awareness. They've been accusing me of trying to cling to Gu Chen time and time again. Liu Man's fans have scolded me as a mistress on numerous occasions. However, Gu Chen was very agitated, and every word seemed to be squeezed out from his throat. "The hot search said that you went to the hospital to have an abortion today." It turned out that what Gu Chen was talking about was not the same thing as what I thought. I didn't understand why he was so angry. Well, yes, Gu Chen seemed to want to lose his temper, but he held it back. "You've been wronged during this award ceremony, but you shouldn't take it out on the child like this." Just talking about this made me angry. I've been in the entertainment industry for 8 years and have been nominated for the Best Actress Award 5 times. It wasn't easy for me to finally be chosen as the Best Actress this time. He helped Liu Man snatch it away from me instead, and because of that, I was laughed at by Liu Man's fans as a clown, and jokingly called by netizens as the professional runner-up. I wasn't being petty. I just thought that since we were getting divorced anyway, there was no need to keep the child. I've already asked someone to draw up the divorce agreement. After the lawyer brings it over tomorrow, please sign it. Ji Yu Chen has never had a good temper with me. It's just that his patience had long run out. It's just an award for Best Actress. It shouldn't have led to such a big mess. If you want it so much, I'll let you have it next year. We can talk about other things after you've calmed down. Even when I clearly said I wanted a divorce, he didn't even think about apologizing or admitting his mistakes at all. He took the car keys and left, just like he always did. No matter how much I had been wronged, he would just abandon me and leave me to deal with it on my own. Anyway, it wouldn't be long before I would come running to him to make up in the past. But but he didn't know that this time it would be different. I lost both of my parents when I was young. I depended on my elder sister for survival. Later, my sister got kidney disease. Gu Chen's mother paid for her surgery and also sponsored my schooling. I was grateful to her. To repay her kindness, I promised to supervise Gu Chen's studies at school. After he went through a breakup, I accompanied him and then married him. Gu Chen's mother said that if I still had no feelings for him after 10 years, she wouldn't force me anymore. Now the time limit had come. Early the next morning, the lawyer brought the divorce agreement. I called Gu Chen, but no one answered, so I simply sent him the electronic version of the agreement. Take a look at it. If there's no problem, please come back and sign it. When I sent the message, a red exclamation mark showed up. He had deleted me again. As long as he was unhappy, even if it was his fault, I still had to try every means to coax him. He had long been used to me revolving around him. How annoying. Fortunately, we can get divorced and I don't have to endure it any longer. I'm really relieved. However, for 3 consecutive days, Ji Chen didn't come home. Instead, he accompanied Leo Man in a high-profile way, going shopping and walking on the red carpet with her, and got on the hot search several times. People on the internet were all saying that their wedding was just around the corner. On the 4th day, I couldn't bear to waste any more time. She only managed to marry into the Gu family by relying on the pressure from the older generation. If I were her, I'd keep a low profile and behave myself. How dare she act so recklessly all the time? Leo Man's friends were surely partial to her, and Gu Chen's friends also regarded me as a joke because of his attitude towards me. I didn't like to waste my breath, so I just asked them where Gu Chen was. Who gave you permission to come here? Ji Chen's cold and harsh voice came from behind. Soon, he walked over to Leo Man's side. Some people hissed. Everyone present was waiting to see my joke. I ignored them and said to Ji Chen, I have something to talk to you about. You're the boss of Star Entertainment. A scandal would affect the company's market value. I'm also a major shareholder of the company and don't want to make things too ugly with him. I wanted to talk to him in private, but Gu Chen didn't intend to give me any dignity at all. If you have something to say, just say it directly. If you're making a fuss about the divorce and then regret it and want to make up, don't bother. I can promise you that we won't get divorced. But this is the last time I'll put up with your unreasonable behavior. You're being so ungrateful even when I'm trying to be nice to you. Why should I give you any face? There's no such word as regret in my dictionary. I took out the divorce agreement from my bag and handed it to him. Sign it. Gu Chen didn't take it. He just stared at me with a gloomy face, waiting for me to sign it first. Then we can get divorced. Don't try to cause any more trouble during the cooling off period. Chu Xing, I don't have time to play house with you. I'm really fed up with his self-righteous look. You can rest assured that all your speculations are based on the assumption that I like you. But the reason I've been pestering you since high school is just to repay your mother's kindness. Now that the 10-year time limit I promised her has expired, I definitely won't have anything to do with you anymore. You're annoyed with me, and I'm also pretty fed up with you and Leo Man. Seriously, you had an affair during our marriage and even gave me the cold shoulder. I really can't bring myself to like you. I thought that if I told the truth, Ji Chen would sign the divorce agreement immediately. After all, he likes Leo Man and has said more than once that he's tired of me as his wife. However, with every word I said, his face grew uglier. He seemed both incredulous and panicked and restless. In the end, his gaze was so fierce as if he wanted to devour me. Gu Chen took the divorce agreement, tore it to pieces, and then turned around and walked out. He was tall and had long legs, so he walked away quickly. He walked so fast that I couldn't catch up with him, and I didn't even think about chasing after him. I took out my mobile phone and sent him a text message. I'll wait for you at home. If you don't come back within 2 hours, I'll ask the lawyer to file for divorce. You'll bear all the consequences caused by the lawsuit for divorce. If the affair between him and Leo Man was exposed to the public, it would surely cause a stir. I could clear my name instead. But I'm a major shareholder of Star Entertainment. One of them is the company's president, and the other is a contracted artist of the company. If they were mired in a scandal, it would bring me huge economic losses. That's also one of the reasons why I've endured them all these years. I glanced at the time and then drove home. An hour later, Ji Chen finally came back. He had a blank expression on his face. He sat on the sofa without saying a word. Here's the divorce agreement that I printed again. I handed it over. Ji Chen took it, and his face became even gloomier. The agreement was crumpled out of shape in his grip. Seeing this, my voice also turned cold. Gu Chen, my patience is limited. If you dare to tear it up a second time, we'll just meet in court. Gu Chen paused for a moment and then threw the divorce agreement onto the table. He stared at me and said, I've never thought about getting divorced. Hearing this, I couldn't help but sneer. but I've been looking forward to getting divorced every day. It's no exaggeration to say that I even dreamed about getting divorced from him. It's almost become an obsession in my heart. Gu Chen's Adam's apple bobbed up and down, and his expression was gloomy and unclear, as if he was trying his best to hold back. I used to be submissive in front of him, and he simply couldn't stand my current attitude. Gu Chen tapped his fingers on the coffee table and said, Star Entertainment is preparing to go public. It would be bad for the company if our divorce was exposed at this time. As long as you don't get divorced, I can give you 5% of the shares. I yawned lazily. The listing won't happen for at least 2 or 3 years. I can't wait that long, so that 5% of the shares is just not meant for me. Do you really can't wait to get divorced like this? Yes. Ji Chen seemed to be humiliated. There was a tinge of sadness and resentment in his tone. Chu Xing, we've known each other for 10 years and been married for 7 years. Have you never had feelings for me? You used to act as if you liked me so much. Was it all just an act? I felt so unlucky just hearing these words. Gu Chen, think about it carefully. In the past 10 years, if you were me, would you have fallen in love with yourself? Gu Chen's face turned pale, then flushed and then back to pale again. He threw out a sentence. I'll ask a lawyer to review the divorce agreement again. Then he left in a hurry. I think if he had any sense of shame, he would have signed the divorce agreement as I asked. We met when we were 18. At that time, I was a transfer student, and he was the top student in our school. Ji Chen and the school beauty Liu Man had a passionate love affair. I was at the bottom of the class in terms of grades and had almost no chance of getting into university. My family was poor too, so I was planning to rely on my looks to become an internet celebrity. However, he was worried about being taken advantage of on his own, so he asked Gu Chen to go with him. Gu Chen's father passed away when he was very young. His mother remarried a wealthy man and abandoned him to his grandmother. After his grandmother died, he lived alone. His growing environment made him lack love. He wanted to hold on tightly to every person he loved. Besides, being young and impulsive, Gu Chen made a hasty decision to drop out of school and become Liu Man's assistant, but in the end, she hooked up with her biggest patron and dumped him. He tried to get back together with her several times but was rejected and ridiculed many times. Later, when he went back to school, Gu Chen had no intention of studying. His grades plummeted and his temper became really bad. As his mother had asked me to, I brought him meals every day, supervised him to have proper meals, and also helped him with his studies. But he ridiculed me more than once and even threw the thermos bucket into the trash can. All my classmates laughed at me, calling me a bootlicker. I was always following Ji Chen around. In our junior year, Liu Man made a transition from being an internet celebrity to an actress. The first web series she starred in became a huge hit. Then, someone dug up her relationship with Gu Chen, and she was ridiculed by her fans. They said that a poor guy like him was far from being good enough for her. During that period of time, Ji Chen was gloomy and showed signs of a recurrence of depression. Later, he decided to break into the entertainment circle. I became the only artist under his name. In order to gain popularity, I tried every means to attract traffic and was severely criticized by netizens. To get a role, I drank so much at a dinner party that I had a stomach hemorrhage. Fortunately, through our hard work, we managed to blaze a trail in the entertainment circle. Gu Chen confessed his love to me and proposed to me. His mother was worried that if he was rejected, his depression would recur, so she asked me to accept. Since I didn't have anyone I liked at that time, I simply agreed. However, after Star Entertainment grew and developed, Liu Man came looking for Ji Chen again, and surprisingly, he got involved with her once more. He had never respected me as his wife from the very beginning to the end. For a person like him, even though he was handsome and wealthy, it was impossible for me to fall in love with him. Even if there had been a tiny spark of affection, he would have extinguished it with his own hands very quickly. That divorce agreement was absolutely fair. I thought Gu Chen would come to me to sign it soon. Indeed, he contacted me a day later, but he took me to the hospital instead. Ji Chen's mother was lying on the hospital bed, skinny, and her complexion didn't look very good. Seeing him become like this, I was helpless, and I couldn't tell how sad I was. He talked to me about the TV I starred in, asked my sister about her current situation, and finally said, Xingxing, I am in the advanced stage of stomach cancer and will not live long. Before I die, I am most at ease with Ah Chen. With his temperament, I can only rest assured if you stay by his side. Can you continue to accompany him? I am a grateful person, but I will not follow Gu Chen for 10 years. But knowing how to be grateful doesn't mean I'm a fool. How many 10 years do people have in my life? Even if you are so kind to me, I should have finished reporting these years. You have to understand that I know how to repay my kindness. Enough is enough. What do you think? Granny sighed, silent for a long time. He had a complicated expression. Said that you have been in love for so many years. See if you can give him a chance. I have already talked to him. Star Entertainment will terminate the contract with Liu Man. He will not affect you in the future. You and I raise my hand to interrupt. As expected, the mother still favors her own son, and there are too many words. I will say goodbye first. I have already paid for his kindness, and the rest of my life is my own. I will turn around and leave. Gu Chen signed or sued. You choose one. Gu Chen followed, grabbed the divorce agreement, and signed the 5-star paper that would be torn apart than the temple in the wind. I hope you don't regret it, of course not. A month later, when I saw the Civil Affairs Bureau, I reached out to take it, but Jiu Chen clutched the agreement tightly and didn't let go. He looked straight at me. The company went public, and the property of the division could be doubled by 10 times, but you insisted on getting a divorce at this time. Unlike your personality, are you in love with someone else? Is it the actor Zhang Jing or the singer Su Heng? I pulled it out with great effort. The agreement has nothing to do with you, who I like. If it weren't for the fact that he and Liu Man were too disgusting, I wouldn't want to leave the money. I ignored his black face and left humming a song. After the divorce agreement was signed, Gu Chen and Liu Man became more and more high profile. Today's birthday party will send sports cars, and tomorrow's auction will sell tens of millions of jewelry. The internet is praising Gu Chen's favorite wife for envying Liu Man. Anyway, the property is divided. It has nothing to do with me. It is Gu Chen, who talks about cooperation with people like a mental illness. If he doesn't call me, I can't help it. After he got drunk, he blocked me in the corridor and entangled me. He kept asking me if I liked Zhang Jin or Su Heng. When did he cheat? The worst thing is, the paparazzi also took a photo of the two of us and posted it on the internet. Lumen fans chased after me and scolded me. While President Gu was drunk and wanted to do bad things, could he order some face? President Gu and Manmin have children and are about to get married. Go away, you have to snatch everything from Manmin. Don't pee to see your god and demon virtue. This is pretty good. Other greetings to my ancestors, 18th generation. Every word is insulting people's eyes. I'll call Jiu Chen. There's still a month for our divorce certificate to come down, and it's not too late for you and Leo Man to show your love again. The more they show their love, the more ruthless Leo Man's fans scold me. No one is happy to be scolded like that. Jiu Chen's voice is cold. We are going to divorce. You don't seem to be qualified to care who I am with, but if you regret it, we can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to cancel the divorce application, but you must keep a distance from Zhang Jing Su Hang in the future. I laughed angrily. Gu Chen, don't you think my temper is really good? I've been pretending to be good for a long time. He really thinks I'm easy to bully. I hang up the phone and call my agent and hold a press conference in 2 hours. I've already arranged it, just waiting for your words. The agent was so excited that he brought the team over to make a pretense for me. He has been wronged with me for many years. I transferred it to him 1 million, the mental loss fee at that time. The press conference began. In addition to those reporters, many Leo Man fans came. He yelled at me and scolded Zhao San. Shameless, Mr. Gu likes Manmin. What are you? Security wants to drive people out. I didn't expect